Stop scrolling for 1 second. If you are in your 50s, 60s, 70s, or beyond, and you reheated leftovers even once this week, I need you to keep watching, because what I'm about to show you could change the way you eat for the rest of your life. This video is for educational and informational purposes only. It is not personal medical advice. Please talk to your own doctor before making major changes to your diet, especially if you are managing a chronic condition. 1 in 6. That is the share of all cancer cases worldwide that researchers now connect to dietary factors. Not just what we eat, but how we store it, how we reheat it, and how many times we run it back through the microwave before we finally throw it away. Poor dietary habits are now recognized as the second leading modifiable risk factor for cancer on the planet, trailing only tobacco. And almost nobody is talking about what happens at the molecular level inside your leftovers when you heat them up a second time. By the end of this video, you'll know exactly which 9 foods carry the highest risk when reheated, why your body becomes more vulnerable to these risks as you move into your 50s, 60s, and 70s, and precisely what to do instead. No supplements, no expensive equipment, nothing complicated. Here's why this matters more the older you get. Your liver's ability to clear toxins slows with age. Your gut lining becomes thinner. Your immune system becomes less efficient at catching and repairing damaged cells before they turn into something worse. In your 30s, your body might shrug off a little extra oxidative stress from a reheated meal. In your 60s and 70s, that same stress lands on a body with fewer reserves to fight back. Before the list, you need 3 quick concepts. First, oxidation. Fat and protein exposed to oxygen in the fridge become unstable, and a second round of heat breaks them down further into lipid peroxides and malondialdehyde, compounds well documented for damaging DNA. Second, the Maillard reaction gone wrong. Repeated high heat on proteins and sugars forms advanced glycation end products, or AGEs, which drive chronic inflammation. Third, nitrite conversion. Nitrate-rich foods can have their nitrates converted to nitrites by bacteria during storage, and reheating can push those nitrites into nitrosamines, compounds the World Health Organization classifies as probable or confirmed carcinogens. Oxidation, glycation, nitrosamine formation. Keep those 3 words in mind, because they'll show up again and again as we go through this list. And you'll start noticing them are the common thread tying together foods that otherwise seem to have nothing in common. Food number 1, rice. More than 3 billion people rely on rice as a primary calorie source, and most reheat it weekly. Here's what almost nobody knows. The real danger has little to do with reheating, and everything to do with what happens while rice cools on the counter. Raw rice naturally carries a bacterium called Bacillus cereus. It survives cooking, and if rice sits at room temperature for even a couple of hours, that bacterium can multiply and release a heat-resistant toxin called cereulide. Reheating kills the bacteria, but does nothing to the toxin it already produced. That toxin survives your microwave completely intact. Laboratory research shows cereulide can damage mitochondria, the energy factories inside your cells, and mitochondrial dysfunction is recognized as one of the earliest events that can push a healthy cell toward becoming cancerous. Repeated heating of starchy rice also increases acrylamide formation, a compound the International Agency for Research on Cancer classifies as a probable human carcinogen. What to do instead? Cool rice within 1 hour by spreading it on the shallow tray. Refrigerate immediately, eat within 24 hours, and never reheat the same batch more than once. Chicken is the world's favorite lean protein, and there's a good chance a batch is sitting in your fridge right now. When muscle protein is heated a second time, it undergoes protein oxidation, producing heterocyclic amines, among the most heavily researched dietary carcinogens in the scientific literature. Once metabolized by your liver, these compounds can bind directly to DNA and trigger mutations, including in the tumor suppressor genes that normally keep abnormal cells in check. Research published in the journal Carcinogenesis found a statistically significant increase in colorectal cancer risk among people who frequently ate well-done or reheated poultry. A separate public health analysis linked frequent reheated processed chicken to increased pancreatic cancer risk. What to do instead? Eat leftover chicken cold in a salad or wrap whenever possible. If you must reheat it, use the gentlest heat that still gets it food safe, and avoid the microwave's tendency to create scorching hot spots in some areas, while leaving others barely warm. If this kind of practical, science-based information is useful, take 5 seconds and hit subscribe. We're only 3 foods in, and the next 6 will surprise you even more. Food number 3, spinach and other nitrate-rich greens. Spinach, beets, celery, lettuce, and Swiss chard are nutritional stars, loaded with iron, folate, magnesium, and antioxidants, when eaten fresh or cooked once and consumed right away. The trouble starts in the fridge. These vegetables are naturally rich in nitrates, and bacteria on the leaves slowly convert those nitrates into nitrites during storage. The same conversion behind cured meats. One reason the World Health Organization classified processed meat as a confirmed carcinogen in 2015. Reheat spinach that sat a day or more, and those nitrites can form nitrosamines, some of the most potent dietary carcinogens identified in modern research, consistently linked to stomach, esophageal, and colorectal cancers. The irony? One of the healthiest foods on the planet can quietly turn into a source of carcinogens purely from a storage and reheat habit millions of health-conscious people repeat weekly. What to do instead? Cook greens fresh, eat immediately, and if you have leftovers, eat them cold within a few hours rather than reheating. Food number 4, eggs. You probably didn't expect eggs. They're nutritionally complete, all 9 essential amino acids, choline for the brain, selenium, lutein, and zeaxanthin for your eyes. But reheating cooked eggs, especially scrambled or hard-boiled, triggers a chemical process most people never hear about. About 13% of an egg is fat, concentrated in the yolk. Cooking begins a normal round of oxidation. Reheating pushes that already oxidized fat into faster secondary oxidation, producing oxysterols. A review in Food and Chemical Toxicology concluded oxysterols carry pro-inflammatory and genotoxic effects, meaning they can damage the genetic material inside your cells. Reheated egg protein also forms abnormal crosslinks that are harder to digest, and sulfur-containing amino acids can degrade in ways that contribute to oxidative stress in your gut lining, a proposed mechanism behind colorectal cancer, currently the 3rd most common cancer worldwide. What to do instead? Eat eggs fresh. Store hard-boiled eggs unpeeled and eat them cold. Skip reheating scrambled eggs in the microwave. Food number 5, potatoes. 2 separate risks here. First, bacterial. Baked potatoes wrapped in foil and cooled at room temperature create a low oxygen environment that's a near perfect breeding ground for Clostridium botulinum, the bacterium behind botulism, especially if the potato sits out more than about 2 hours. Second, chemical. Potatoes are loaded with asparagine, and repeated high heat, baking then reheating, drives further acrylamide formation, the same probable carcinogen from our rice discussion. What to do instead? Unwrap foil-baked potatoes immediately after cooking, rather than leaving them sealed on the counter, and refrigerate promptly. Reheat gently, in a covered dish with a splash of water, rather than dry high heat like a toaster oven or air fryer. Food number 6, fish and seafood. Omega-3 fats are exactly why reheated fish deserves caution. They're polyunsaturated, nutritionally valuable, but chemically fragile, oxidizing far more easily than the saturated fats found in something like beef. Reheating fish accelerates lipid peroxidation, producing reactive aldehydes linked to cellular and DNA damage. Dark-fleshed fish like tuna and mackerel also contain histidine, which bacteria can convert to histamine during storage. Reheating doesn't destroy it, and in sensitive people, it can trigger flushing, headache, and digestive upset that's easy to mistake for a simple allergy. What to do instead? Eat fish the day it's cooked. It's storing leftovers, seal tightly, refrigerate immediately, and reheat gently at low temperature. Food number 7, mushrooms. Mushrooms are low-calorie, rich in B vitamins, and one of the few plant sources of vitamin D. But they're also unusually high in protein for a vegetable, and that protein degrades quickly once cooked. Reheating breaks it down further, generating byproducts associated with oxidative stress in digestive tissue, similar to eggs. Mushrooms are also porous and absorb moisture, making them prone to bacterial growth if left out even briefly before refrigeration. What to do instead? Refrigerate within an hour, store in a shallow sealed container, eat within a day, and reheat only once until just warm through. Food number 8, cooking oil. The most overlooked item on this list. Repeated heating of oil, especially at frying temperatures, breaks it down into trans fats, aldehydes, and acrolein, the compound behind the sharp smell of burnt oil. Research has linked repeatedly heated oil to increased oxidative stress and inflammation, and some studies connect long-term reused frying oil to elevated cancer risk in animal models, largely through polycyclic aromatic hydrocarbons, compounds also found in cigarette smoke and charred meat. What to do instead? Use fresh oil each time you fry when practical. If you reuse it, strain it, store it away from light and heat, and limit reuse to once or twice. Food number 9, processed and cured meats. You already suspected this one. Bacon, deli ham, and sausage were classified a confirmed Group 1 human carcinogen by the World Health Organization in 2015. The same evidence category as tobacco, though not the same risk level. What most people miss, reheating compounds the problem. These meats already contain curing nitrites, and reheating, especially in a hot pan or broiler, can accelerate their conversion into nitrosamines, the same mechanism as spinach, but starting from meat with a head start. Research in Lancet Oncology has consistently linked regular processed meat consumption to increased colorectal cancer risk, and high heat reheating appears to intensify that further. What to do instead? Treat cured meats as occasional food, not a leftover to stretch across the week. When reheating, use the lowest effective heat for the shortest time. I want to be honest about something. This information isn't hidden. It's published in respected peer-reviewed journals and referenced in official public health guidance. It just rarely makes it to the actual dinner table. I think of a woman I know, 71, who's meal prepped the same way for over a decade, a big batch on Sunday, reheating chicken, rice, and eggs all week to save time and money. She was doing everything she thought was responsible. She simply never knew her food's chemistry changes the moment it's heated a second time. That's not carelessness. That's a gap in information this video exists to close. There are people in their 60s and 70s living alone, reheating the same pot because portioning for one is genuinely hard. There are people in their 30s and 40s doing healthy meal prep every week, unaware their convenience is quietly changing the food's chemistry. None of these people are doing anything wrong. They simply didn't have this information. Now you do. Here's your summary checklist. 1. Cool food within about an hour and refrigerate right away. 2. Eat leftovers within 24 hours as a hard deadline. 3. Reheat only once. One cooking, one reheating, then it's done. 4. Favor gentle reheating like a low oven or covered pan over high-powered microwave bursts. 5. With nitrate-rich vegetables and fatty fish, lean toward eating cold rather than reheating at all. Here's the good news. None of this requires giving up rice, chicken, eggs, or fish. These are genuinely nutritious foods. This isn't about fear. It's about timing, storage, and portioning. Plan meals to produce fewer leftovers, and when you do have them, give these 9 foods the small amount of care they actually need. Now I want to hear from you. Which of the 9 foods caught you completely off guard? Comment A if it's something you eat almost every day. Comment B if it's something you always considered healthy. Comment C if you never would have suspected it. I read these comments, and they shape what we cover next. And if there's someone in your life, a parent, a spouse, a friend who lives alone and reheats the same meal all week, take 10 seconds and send them this video. Not to scare them, just to give them the same information you now have. This channel is dedicated to practical, evidence-based senior health. If you have not subscribed yet, do that now. Turn on notifications, and make sure you never miss what we cover next, because the next video could be the one piece of information that protects someone you love. We'll see you in the next one.